So, on the whole topic of relationships, for one last time, on the whole topic of matrimony, so marriage was destroyed by gay marriage, period. That's when marriage ceased to be marriage anymore. Marriage, by definition, is a religious ceremony between a husband and wife. The state should have never gotten involved with it. The state should have never mandated anything of it. And now, because the state went into a religious institution and violated its place and forced gay marriage upon the world, now we are in clown world. And, don't participate in any global homo shenanigans, period. And so one of the key aspects of marriage is, of course, no-fault divorce and the fact that women always get the child. Statistically speaking, women make much, much worse parents than fathers do. I don't know why it is. It could be because there's a ton more decent female, leads around. There's plenty of female influences in any child's life. On average, your teacher is going to be a female. If you go to a public school, on average, you're going to have females, in nurses and a lot of things, and very few male influences in any child's life. There's an abundance of female influences in any child's life. Daycare, largely female-dominated. Schools and teachers, largely female-dominated. The reality of the situation is you need a fatherly and a motherly influence to raise a child, period. There's more than enough motherly influence going around. In fact, you could argue there's too many babies that get mothered these days, but that's neither here nor there. Well, actually, it is right here. Children these days are pathetic wimps, and, I would personally beat the living shit out of every child if I could. I would slap it around and just because I could, That's it. Just give them a good old right on their butt until they're all bruised, just so they can know what it feels like and know what being wronged is. Give them a little bit of taste, something to hate the world for. Give them a little spark. It'd make them all a lot better. We need to, the generations that beat their children did much better than the generations that didn't. I'm not advocating for beating children randomly, but I'm saying if it's between beating them randomly and not, all day, all frickin' day, man. I've seen way too many kids that are brats, especially in these modern days, that, just a quick little bit of violence could solve a lot of issues. It's not nice, but it is what they need. Children need boundaries, they need structure, and men make better parents than women do, just flat out. The fatherly influence is lacking in the world. Fathers in general are lacking in the world. And now I'm not saying to just randomly start hitting children, okay? Don't take me out of context here, although it wouldn't be a bad idea if you did. I'm just saying, in Minecraft, if we had an epidemic of, children that were getting spanked by random strangers for being brats, it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world that could happen. It could improve society a little bit. Not saying we need to improve society, but realistically, we exist in a system where statistically, 85% of convicted criminals come from single mothers. Every time a feminist cites any sort of violent statistics to you, just point out that that child was raised by a single mother and that it's their fault. Period. I'm so sick of hearing this kind of garbage from people. Single fathers raise children about as good as couples do. Women are incapable of raising children. They just can't do it simply. They can provide for them for milk, but they can't get the job done flat out. There is no such thing as a properly raised single mother's child. At best, you're hoping that it doesn't become a convict. That's the best you're hoping for out of a single mother household. Not to talk about the economics and all the other shit. Oh, but it's so hard, Sneed. They have such a hard life. They chose that life 88% of the time. And I'm going to go out on a limb here and say the single mothers, they're the most coddled people in the entire world. They're getting child support, they're getting alimony, they're getting, WIC, they have free food, they have free everything. They get paid just to exist, and then they can't do their one job properly. If they're unable to do that, then they deserve what they get. It's time to put the accountability back on the shoulders of the people for their own decisions, and in this case, it is their fault. It's time to start taking these children from single mothers and letting them live with the father so that they can get a proper, stock. The future of the nation is at stake, even though, who really cares? When all of this blows over and how many generations it takes for the West to fully decline, to fully turn into, some sort of horrible amalgamation, some, Jewish Amerigolem psyop, disgusting horde of people, and the entire United States turns into Detroit, everything rots over until we're so corrupt and so wholly destroyed from our core that we don't even look like human beings anymore, we don't act like human beings anymore, which you could argue is already here, but, we'll see. the depths of depravity we'll fall to. I'm interested in that. That's one of the only reasons I still exist, is to watch and see the depths of depravity that people are going to fall to at this point. It's like a macabre theater show almost for me, It's like watching someone get cut up or something like that. You just can't peel your eyes away, even though you know it's disgusting. That's what watching America is like to me. Yeah, we need to change the laws so that children are pretty much de facto going with the fathers, and that all of that support needs to turn around. Fathers simply raise better children than mothers do, and we need to get to a point where we can accept that and then also start enacting that as large-scale social reform. Until that happens, we're not going to have a world in which a lot of this shenanigans ever ends. We're going to continue to perpetuate the cycle of violence, which is where all the convicted felons, it's something like 93% of rapists are raised by single mothers. Absolutely ridiculous statistics, because they never have any boundaries. See pretty woman do what want, ooga ooga booga, big nude, as they say, ma dig, Alice Debig, my 72 virgins, Allahu Akbar, kind of bullshit. Like, where do you think all of this stems from? At the end of the day, if you want to cleanse the source, you have to hit it at the source, and you have to remove children from single mothers, period. Like, literally, maybe forced adoption is another solution as well. There are 3 million families right now waiting for 0-year-olds and young children. Like, why not? It's better than nothing. Although I'm not sure if they would even want the horrible stock that single mothers are offering, like the unruly brats. I don't know. It probably should just go with the fathers, honestly. Like, why would you curse a happy family to have to deal with some single mother's mistakes? Absolutely disgusting and just foul and filthy. Maybe it could be an option for them, just forced adoption, or go with the father if he doesn't want the brat. And like, an orphanage gives them a better shot at life than being raised by a single mother does most of the time. Absolutely, that kind of filth and degeneracy. But yeah, that's all I'm gonna say on the topic. And if you're like a 30-something man like myself, never associate with single mothers or anyone like them. They're disgusting subhumans. They've earned their suffering. Let them have it.